Hello and welcome to Movers and Shakers. I'm Ken Miller. Today I'm joined by 4th District Leavenworth County Commissioner Mike Smith. Mike, we're recording this on September 13th, and I know September 14th, tomorrow, is kind of a big day with regard to the 2023 county budget. I've been watching the last couple of meetings on video, and I know there have been more than a few people that were upset about mill levy rates and just taxes in general. So talk a little bit about what you're going to see tomorrow and the 2023 budget.
Yeah, it's a good question. A lot of people came in, and rightfully so, with the appraisals, the county appraisals or state appraisals come in, and we had looked at, the staff prepared to drop the mill levy a quarter. Some of us felt we need to do more than that, especially when the appraisals hit. So long discussion, had a lot of people talk, gave everybody the opportunity to speak at the meeting and be vocal. And you know, some of them were upset, and
Sure.
and I understand that. So we finally, I made a recommendation that we go 3/4, which is another $500,000 per us. That would be 3/4 of a mill drop, and that was a thing we took. And then we went to a work session the following week, had some more discussion, and it looks like tomorrow that is the way we'll go. And it may be a 3-2 vote, but I think that's the way it's going to go. One thing that was interesting to me, as I've been the county commissioner for the last 19 months, is that Leavenworth County has one of the lowest mill levies in the state. It's like number 7 or 8, and we continue. But you know, that's not the problem. The problem is this, and I've been talking to our representatives, and they're finally starting to listen. The appraisal system in Kansas does not work, especially in the Northeast. When your appraisal goes from 4% to 19%, and you never know how it's going to come down and land, something's wrong with it. And the reason that is, and I think most people understand it, Ken, if you bought a house years ago for $300,000, and then your neighbors, like the hot market it was last year, sold theirs for $600,000, then your house needs to be comparable with them.
Right.
So all of a sudden your value of your house has jumped $200,000, and that's how you get taxed.
Right.
The system is wrong. The appraiser's office is overseen by the Kansas Department of Revenue, not the county. No county in the state does it. Their formula takes place. So we made it very clear to our representatives and all over the state, especially our local ones that are running for office, this has to be fixed.
Right.
We cannot live like this. We cap it.
Yeah.
But do something with it to do that. So I would say tomorrow, just best guess, it'll drop 3/4, which is another, getting, like I said, $500,000, be a total of about $740,000 drop.
That's the hit to the county.
Yeah,
Right.
740 hit county, and I don't think it'll be majority, and the county commissioners have to vote to conscience on that, but I believe that's what's going to come up. But there's going to be a lot of work done in the next 6 months, 8 months, and I think last year the representatives were just starting to see how frustrated we are. Well, with everybody up for election this year, they know this is serious, and we need some help.
Have you had a chance to talk one-on-one with the people who are either in office or are running for office?
Yes.
And what's their response when you tell them about this problem?
Well, one of them told me that he's only one person. And that just wasn't acceptable to him. Now, he's not running again, or he's not going to be in office, so that's fine. The rest of them are even coming out saying now that, yeah, it's a problem. We need to fix it. And I've seen the other representatives, you know, whether it's Pat, Lance, Tim, or whoever's going to get the one in our area, out here, David or the other teacher, they know that's an issue. So it's going to be talked about. One of the problems I see with this, though, Ken, is representatives are only in for 2 years. A lot of new ones get in for 1 year, they learn it, and then the next year, they're really running for office again.
Yeah.
And that's no disrespect to any of them, because if they were in office a little bit longer, I think we'd get more done. But this isn't going away, and I think I spoke in Salina, the county, about 300 county commissioners about a year ago on this thing, and a lot of the new county commissioners weren't aware of how this is doing, especially demand transfers. So we're reviewing it. We're not happy about the way it's coming out, and we're hopefully going to be able to address, at least get some kind of a solution to this.
Well, and you're right, the system is broke. I mean, for somebody who bought a house at whatever price and to see in 5 to 8 years the value of your property double in terms of being able to tax it, that's fine if you're selling your house.
That's right.
But if you're not selling your house, all you're doing is paying much increased taxes on something that's really the same thing as it was 5 years earlier.
And also, everyone wants their value to go up a certain thing. You want that because when you do go to sell it, retire, give it to your kids, or whatever, you want it going up. But 15, 19%, and you haven't even put paint on your house.
Yeah.
No, we've got to fix that.
Right.
We're determined to do that, but we're going to make an effort anyway.
Okay. All right. So let's change gears here a little bit. Status of Old Cushing Hospital. Now, this was purchased by the county last year. You've got agencies that I think are getting ready to move in next month, if I'm not mistaken. I think your Council on Aging is getting ready to move in October. The renovation of that campus is becoming a little bit more expensive than originally projected. What is the situation at Old Cushing?
Cushing was given to us.
I think it was like $1, right?
Yeah,
did you buy it for $1?
You know what you have to do. You have to pay something like that.
Right.
There's been a lot of, and we're moving a lot of Council on Aging and K-State Extension. And there's a lot of things that are usually being paid for by the county rent, so we'll be able to collect that. But we ran into a lot of sewer problems in there because it's an old building, and we're not there. But from the federal funding money that came out in the last year and a half, we're running about $300,000 over, so it's not coming from any taxpayer. That is funding that we set aside, knowing that we may run some issues. So that's being paid for by what the federal government's been giving out, handing out for the last 2 years. So it won't touch the property tax. Now the other issue is we wanted to be able to rent it out to somebody to help pay for the maintenance. And right now we have a mental health facility. I think it's the 3rd floor. It's one of the floors that is rented that out, and that will help pay for any maintenance or anything we have to do that. And then the savings from paying $80,000-$90,000 a year for some of these other places that we rent will come in play. So I think it'll be it'll be a one-stop area. So but yeah, there was some more work than we thought. But it's an old building.
Right. So is that building at this point going to be functioning as a county annex, if you will, come in October?
Yeah.
I mean, that's really when we're going to start seeing this next month.
We're hoping. Council on Aging is really pushing our staff, but they hope to be in by October 15th, something like that.
Okay. All right. Economic development. I know the county, I think the last time we talked, you were about ready to hire Tom Cole.
Right.
I don't think the name was out there yet. He's an economic development professional, works for the county now. And I'm sure I'm not the first person, I'm not going to be the last person to ask you this question. So the county has an economic development person on board, but we still have Leavenworth County Development Corporation. Again, anybody that's watched the videos knows that there's been a couple of friction, a couple of disagreements here and there.
Yeah.
Talk about the roles for economic development in the county, whether you're talking about somebody on staff, whether you're talking about LCDC and the Port Authority. How is the county working? Convince me that the county is working together to try and build business here in the county.
Ken, you've been here a long time. Years ago, even when I was mayor or city administrator or other cities, we were trying to get the LCDC or the Port Authority to jump on board with the commercial and retail. Well, that's just not their mission statement. That's not what they were designed to do. So last year we formed a committee, and it was a rough meetings, but after a while we decided we were going to take half the funding. We still left Port Authority with 150,000, something like that. Don't quote me on this, close to it. And we took that money and hired our economic director. The first thing we assigned Tom Kohler to do was do an economic plan. County's never had one. You don't know where you're going if you don't have a map. So what we instructed him to do is go meet with all the county managers, city managers, and anybody that's involved in that. He's our rep on the LCDC and Port Authority thing. Get to know them and then work out. Now the plan's almost complete, and we've had input from everybody on what they're going to see. We don't want to duplicate this, but we do want to help with things like if you got a SUP out in the county.
Special use permit.
Yeah, special use permit, which provides taxes for the user taxes for the county and the citizens. We want to do that. We also wanted him to make sure he's helping. Not all cities have economic directors.
Right.
The one here, Matt, that's not his only function. And so the other cities now have somebody they can get to help to bring in. And that's his background, his economic development. And so we brought him in to also assist the other cities with that. But the main reason we wanted to get it, we wanted to get that economic plan put in place so everybody knew what we offered in this county, whether you're a city, you can get, it's a one-stop thing to go look and see. Now LCDC and Port Authority continue to do industrial parks. In fact, I've encouraged Lansing to look at it and talk to Tim, the mayor. I've encouraged them to look for some land for industrial park. I think that'd be a thing because they're running out of room in their 2 locations, especially the one up in Leavenworth. So that's what they're going to be mainly focused on. And retention. Port Authority and LCDC shouldn't be doing retention. That's where Tom is going to come, make those visits. What can we do for you? Last thing you want to do is see somebody move out, whether it's in the county or the city, and then you find out later that if you'd reached out to them, you could have helped them with something they may not have known existed, funding available.
Right.
And so that's where that's going to come into play. I think there's going to be a lot more that this position can do once we get going. But right now, he's been on about 6 months. We're just hitting the ground running.
When do you think he's going to be done with that plan that you referenced?
He's finalizing it now.
Okay.
I mean, he's met a couple times with everybody that's partners in it, which is cities and counties and the unincorporated. In fact, it's also I want to meet with Easton and Linwood. And in fact, Linwood just put that dollar store general down there. That's a big thing for a small community. These are the kind of things we need to help make sure we're reaching out, helping. And we also, if you make a phone call, his job is to help you find the right area of land, right people, right thing, that the state can help you with all that, and let LCDC and Port Authority do their thing with industrial parks, and let us take the other.
So you think that plan, we'd see it by the end of the year?
I would think so.
Okay.
We met on it again a month ago, and I think he had met with all the organizations again. So I would think by the end of the year we'll see a final draft.
Okay, all right. This is a question, and I know there was a lot more concern about this 4, 5, 8 years ago, and it's how does the county become more business friendly? I mean, you only have to look to the south and Johnson County and even Wyandotte County to see there's growth all the time. I mean, they can fall over and they will grow. But how does Leavenworth County start to pick up on some of that momentum that we were seeing? And you kind of answered that question in your last response, but what do you think the number one thing is the county needs to do to get the grocery store, the retail places that you refer to, or even the industrial places? And we've got, whether it's Tonganoxie, whether it's Leavenworth, they're kind of set up for that. What do you guys need to do to make that happen?
Well, I think for a long time, the county really didn't take the approach of bringing business in. If you came and looked at us, I think you have to court places. Quick Trip in Lansing. Look how long we courted that, Ken.
Right.
But I also think that when I came on board, when we took Planning Commission now, which oversees a lot of recommendations to us, we gave them a lot more authority to get things done without having to bring it back to us. So we don't want to tie you up on the paperwork. We want to make that easy. We'll sit down with you. But also I want the staff, and we've seen it, not that we weren't before, but I thought we could do a better job. I wanted to see the staff a little bit more friendlier and outgoing to meet. When I came up there, it was like the county and the cities were, and we said, we got to stop this. And I think being former city manager, and Paul Kramer, Leavenworth, and Tim out here, and the manager down south all knew me, so it was, they could pick up the phone and call me directly. Now Mark Lowry does a good job as our county administrator, but he's only one person, and we got over 400 employees. So the rest of us in other departments have to pitch in and do that. If I ever hear a thing where we didn't get back to them, I get very upset. But I think that's not the case. I think we got a lot of good employees out there that are working this, but we haven't done that like this in the county, in my opinion. And so we're having to take baby steps, but we're going there. And when you walk people into your house or your commissioners meeting, you got to treat them with respect. You got to try to work with them and see what their issues are. And sometimes we can, and sometimes we can't. But they shouldn't have to feel intimidated to come up to the courthouse. And I hope that people are seeing that we're trying to be more user-friendly in that area.
It seems to me, and again, I've only got one set of eyes, and I work in one county, I live in another county, neighboring county. It seems to me I'm seeing more of an influx of very small businesses who want to get started or who are getting started. There's a brewery on Donahue Road that's a mile and a half from my house, and it's an old barn, but they're looking for people because they're doing well. You've got wineries out there in Baser. You've got Tonganoxie. So you've got. And you talked about the special use permits, which I think is helpful in trying to grow the very small business community. Is that something that the county is starting to focus on? Because it's not always going to. You're not going to have a quick trip every week.
That's right.
You're not going to have a new industry locating in Leavenworth or Hills isn't coming once a year.
That's right.
That's That's a great get, but it's not going to happen all the time. Is there a focus now on the small businesses?
Yeah,
too?
I think one of the problems we had, I don't know whose fault it was, there were a lot of people out there running businesses that hadn't signed up. And we had to get their attention on that. And they came in and we did the SUPs. We're not giving 5-year SUPs now. We're giving for, unless you make a change, you can consider doing that. Because we're hoping that some of these SUPs will grow into regular businesses. We've got some that will be going into cities because they've got so large and they need the thing that
infrastructure that the cities can provide. Yeah,
infrastructure can provide, and so that's what we're hoping to grow it into. But the businesses out in the county, they pay sales tax, which helps offset property tax and everything like that. So we've got a better handle on that. But we don't run them through the ringer now. We got the planning commission can do so much. They come before us if they're trying to make a change to it, say they want to put another 5,000, and that gives us to let the people know in the area, because somewhere in residential area that there's been a new application filed, and if you want to come and tell us about what you think. So I think that's helped. There's been a lot of SUPs we've put on the book in the last 8 months.
Okay. All right, final question. We're going to kind of slide to the other end of the spectrum here. And, 4th District, which is mainly Lansing, surrounding area, I don't think the Panasonic plant down in Desoto affects. It will have some effect because I think people are going to live up here and work down there. It's Panasonic, 4,000 jobs, and then you've got the spin-off. I mean, that's still being developed over the next year or two. But I think the southern part of the county, your Tonganoxie, basically, along the 2440 corridor, there's going to be more of an impact there. So, what is the county able to do or willing to do? And maybe it's more lobbying just for transportation improvements to get workers down there and whatnot. But is there, and this might be a Tom Cole thing, the economic development person, the spinoff doesn't have to be located in Desoto necessarily, it can be closer. So how does the county perceive what Panasonic may or may not, how they may or may not impact us?
Well, we think we're going to see some of it. And right now, after talking to the county administrator, I think we're in pretty good shape to handle some of the infrastructure needs. As time goes by, as in planning, the baser and is took off before the economy started doing the way it's going now. They almost doubled in size in the last 10 years. Tonganoxie's growing too, and they've got some things coming down south. So I think we're going to place it. Tom, again, well, you're right, our county economic director works with the state on a lot of grants and things that are available. Hopefully when we come up, we're always applying for grants from Mid-Regional Council. We've been very successful on a lot of those, especially with bridges. We've got so many bridges, and so many roads. But I think right now, they're a couple years out, but we think right now they're set to handle it. That's going to change, because I totally believe when they find out what a hidden gem Leavenworth County is, you're going to see the growth in the housing like that. But at this moment, I've been told that we're in pretty good shape. But there'll definitely be some changes going, because this is something that Kansas needs more of. Is things like this, Ken.
Right. Okay. All right. I've been speaking with 4th District Leavenworth County Commissioner Mike Smith. For Movers and Shakers, I'm Ken Miller.